We are discussing about the translation protein synthesis. So for the protein synthesis, what has to happen? The transfer of information from DNA to RNA in the form of mRNA, and this mRNA is giving information for the protein synthesis. So there is a difference in the language between DNA to amino acids. So DNA cannot communicate to the proteins or amino acids directly. So what it will do, it will give information to the mRNA, and from mRNA the information is given to the amino acids. So one by one amino acids from the cell cytoplasm is picked up, and then the protein is synthesized. Ultimately this protein executes the function in the body. So this is what the flow of information taking place in the body cells. Now the language, as I told, DNA is having 4-letter language, RNA is also 4-letter language. Only difference between DNA and RNA is instead of thymine in DNA, uracil is present in the RNA. But when you come to the amino acids, I told you that there are 20 standard amino acids. So 20 standard amino acids, how they will be able to communicate with the 4-letter language of RNA? So this has become a good big question to understand the mechanism of translation for the scientists at that time. So what they have understood after doing so many experiments and so many studies, what they have predicted is the language that is present, information that is present in DNA and RNA is not in the form of single nucleotide. So the information that has to be given to the amino acids is a multiple nucleotides. It is not single nucleotide which is giving information to the amino acid at the time of translation process. So what they have understood, that the information in the DNA is stored in the form of codes, codons, that is called genetic code. That is called genetic code. So this genetic code, they have tried different ways to find out how the genetic code, how the information is stored in the DNA. So finally they have come up with some predictions about genetic code, and later on it is being supported by many evidences and it is accepted. So before understanding the translation process very well, we should understand what is a genetic code. What is a genetic code? So we will talk about the genetic code also. Now see, in this diagram, it is the central dogma of molecular biology, and the flow of information is given clearly here. Now see, this is a double-stranded DNA molecule. This is a double-stranded DNA molecule, you can see, and the information that is present on the DNA in the form of genes. Gene means is a segment of DNA which codes for a particular protein, So the gene means it is a segment of DNA which codes for particular protein. That you should remember. Now see here, this is a gene 1, again there is a gap, again gene 2, again there is a gap, again gene 3, again there is a gap, like this comes. Now I told you when talking about the transcription process, introns and extrons will be there. Introns are the intertwining sequences. They doesn't code for any protein. So this is not actually a coding segment that is present on the DNA. So DNA, the content that is everything present in the DNA is not the containing information. Okay. So the useful coding information is present only in the form of exons. So exons are the only gene segments which can code for a functional protein. So introns are the intervening sequences, they doesn't code for any any protein. So it does not contain any useful information. Okay. So if you see, this part of the DNA segment is shown here. Now this part of the DNA strand is mentioned in the blue color, and this DNA strand undergoes transcription. Now see the transcription process. This DNA is transcribed, means wherever A is there, T is the complementary nucleotide, but in case of RNA, instead of T, U will come. Similarly, A, T, instead of T in the RNA, U will come. So during transcription process, this T is replaced by U here, and C complementary nucleotide G, C complementary nucleotide another G complementary nucleotide G complementary nucleotide C, G, A again has come U, because for adenine the complementary pairing is T. But in case of RNA, T is replaced by uracil. So uracil has come. So this is a mRNA strand that is formed during transcription process from this DNA template. From this DNA template, it is transcribed and the mRNA is synthesized after transcription process. Now this RNA undergoes translation process, means synthesis of proteins or polypeptide chain. Synthesis of protein or polypeptide chain. Now, because the amino acids, 20 standard amino acids are present and only 4 RNA nucleotides are present, how the decoding of the mRNA information which is taken from the DNA is decoded by these amino acids or translation process has become a big question of understanding. So, for this we should understand genetic code. So genetic code, let us see what is a genetic code. What they have predicted after doing so many studies and experiments, they have decided that all 3 nucleotides, they code for one codon. And each codon can code for one amino acid. Each codon codes for one amino acid. So, just imagine we have 4 nucleotides, 4 letters A, T, G, C in DNA, A, U, G, C in RNA. Okay. Here, for 4, let's say 20 amino acids are there, one nucleotide is coding for one amino acid, let's say, then in that case only 4 nucleotides can code for only 4 amino acid. But what about the other 16 amino acids which are present in the proteins and biological peptides? So it is not possible. Then what the scientists have thought, 2 codons may code for one amino acid, let's say. Then 2 codons means how many possibilities is possible for 2 codons? We have 4 nucleotides. We have 4 nucleotides A, T, G, A, U, G, C in case of RNA, A, U, G, C. So let's say if 2 codons are coding for one amino acid, means how many possibilities is possible? A is one combination, A, U is one combination, okay, U is one combination, U, A is another combination, then AG is another combination, GA is another combination, then GU is another combination, then CA, CG, CU and AC. So how many total possibilities? Let's say 2 codons are coding for one amino acid, means 2 to the power of 4. 2 to the power of 4 means 2 into 2 into 2. So for every nucleotide 2 combinations, then 16 amino acids. So if you take 2 nucleotides are coding for one amino acid, even then at the most they can code only for 16 amino acids. So what about the other 4 amino acids that are present in the biological peptides? So then they thought that even the 2 nucleotides may not code for one amino acid, because 4 amino acids are still left over. There is no codon left for it. Then what they have predicted, so 3 codons, 3 codons are present. 3 codons can code for one amino acid. Then they have decided that 3 codons. So if it is 3 codons, how many possibilities are there? Now 3 to the power of 4, 3 into 3 into 3. So how many? 81. So 81 codons are possible if three codons are coding for one amino acid. So there is a possibility. So 81 codons can easily code for 20 amino acids. So 81 codons can easily code for 20 amino acids. Okay, 20 amino acids. So they have predicted that 3 codons will code for one amino acid. So 3 nucleotides will become a single codon. What they have understood, 3 nucleotides are forming a single codon, and each codon codes for one amino acid. If 3 codons are making into a single 3 nucleotides are making into a codon, single codon, then the number of possibilities of codons is 81. So 81 codons are there to code for 20 amino acids. 20 amino acids. So what they have decided finally, a genetic code consists of 3 nucleotides. So all 3 nucleotides will become a codon. This is what they have told. And before starting the actually going into the actual process of translation, what we have to understand is the requirements for translation we should know. So tRNA means transfer RNA. This is also called as soluble RNA. So transfer RNA, what it will do, tRNA, what it will do, it can transfer the amino acids from cytosol to the ribosomal protein synthesizing machinery. So what tRNA will do, transfers amino acids from cytosol to the ribosomal protein synthesizing machinery. Okay, so tRNA transfers the amino acids from the cytoplasm onto the ribosomal protein synthesizing machinery, that is mRNA. Now this tRNA consists of about 73 to 93 nucleotides. So this tRNA structure we have discussed in your first year. For this there is another class is also made for the DNA structure and RNA structure for first year students. If you want, you can go through that YouTube link also. Now we saw tRNA is a essential component. tRNA or transfer RNA is required as required for carrying out the translation process. Next we need ribosomes. So we have studied 2 types of ribosomes will be there, 70S type of ribosome and 80S type of ribosome. 70S type of ribosome is present in 70S type of ribosomes is present in what do you call prokaryotic cells. 80S type of ribosomes is present in eukaryotic type of cells. So ribosomes are required for carrying out this protein synthesis or translation. So ribosomes, what they do, infrastructure for the mRNA. So the infrastructure for the mRNA to synthesize proteins is provided by ribosomes. tRNA is required, and amino acids, availability of amino acids in the cytoplasm is very essential to synthesize proteins. So this ribosomes, they interact with mRNA, tRNA and amino acids during the process of translation. Then as I told, 2 types of ribosomes are seen, 70S type of ribosomes and 80S type of ribosomes. 70S ribosomes are present in prokaryotes and 80S ribosomes are present in eukaryotes. If you see the 80S type of ribosomes, 80S type of ribosomes, 2 subunits will be there. You take any ribosome, there are 2 subunits, one larger subunit, the other one is smaller subunit. The smaller subunit is made up of 30S type of subunit, and larger subunit is made up of 50S type of subunit. This is in case of prokaryotes. Whereas eukaryotes, if you take, the larger subunit is made up of 60S and smaller subunit is made up of 40S. If you combine 60S and 40S, it becomes 100S. Don't think that it is not 80S. It is called 80S. S in this designation, S refers to the Swedberg unit. Swedberg unit is is the unit for centrifugation and isolation of these these cell organelles at this particular gravity. So that is why Swedberg unit is a unit for their separation or purification. So 80s type of ribosomes are present in case of eukaryotes. Their larger subunit consists of 60s and smaller subunit is made up of 40s. So two subunits will be there in case of ribosomes, one larger subunit, one smaller subunit. Larger subunit is 60s type and smaller subunit is 40s type in case of eukaryotic ribosomes. So in this you can see this is how the ribosomes are there. You can see two clear components. One is larger subunit, this is smaller subunit. So larger subunit is 50s type and smaller subunit is 30s type. It is prokaryotic ribosome. Prokaryotic ribosome. Again this 50s ribosomes, again they are consisting of some smaller RNAs also. Smaller RNAs. That is 5s RNA, 23s RNA and 31 proteins peptide is also present. Okay. So you just remember that ribosomes contain two subunits, one is larger subunit, other one is smaller subunit. Larger subunit is 50s type, smaller subunit is 30s type, and total 70s type of ribosomes are present in prokaryotes. Whereas eukaryotes, if you see, the larger subunit is made up of 60s, smaller subunit is made up of 40s. Okay, up to this you remember. So this is how the eukaryotic ribosome looks like, and this is a larger subunit 60s type, the smaller subunit 40s type. So this ribosomes is also essential for the protein synthesis or translation mechanism. Till now we have discussed tRNA and ribosomes. These two are essential things that is required for translation. Apart from the ribosomes and tRNA, mRNA is another essential component which is required for translation process. So mRNA, ribosomes, tRNA, amino acids are also required for translation. Then we need some enzymes also to carry out this translation process. That enzyme is amino acyl tRNA synthetase. Amino acyl tRNA synthetase. Amino acyl tRNA synthetase. Amino acyl tRNA synthetase. Then we need ATP and GTP energy source as energy source. ATP and GTP as energy source. Then other enzymes of translation are also required. Then protein factors. Some protein factors are required for carrying out this translation. So requirements of translation, what is required for carrying out translation? Ribosomes, mRNA, tRNA, amino acids, enzyme amino acyl tRNA synthetase, ATP, GTP energy for energy purpose, then enzymes of other enzymes of translation, protein factors. So all these things should be ready to carry out this translation process. Now genetic code. I was talking about this genetic code in the beginning. So I told that after doing so many studies and predictions, what the scientists have decided, they have understood that one nucleotide cannot code for one amino acid, because only 4 nucleotides are there and 20 amino acids are there, so it is not possible. Even two nucleotides coding for one amino acid is also not sufficient to code for 20 amino acids. So what they have understood, 3 codon, 3 nucleotides, every 3 nucleotides will be like a one code. So 3 nucleotides will become one code and they can code for 20 amino acid. And if you see the 3 nucleotides are forming into a codon, then the combination of number of codons becomes 81. So total 81 codons are there, so it can easily code for 20 amino acids. So after understanding that 3 nucleotides are forming into a codon, then they have tried to understand some more features of this genetic code. Now genetic code. So I told you that information from the DNA comes in the form of mRNA. So this mRNA is translated for the synthesis of proteins. So to translate, so the name of the mechanism also you try to understand the name of the mechanism. Translation means, for example, let's say our Prime Minister will come to Tamil Nadu to conduct one open meeting, public meeting. So, but he is not able to talk Tamil. He cannot talk in Tamil, and people cannot understand Hindi. So, what he will do? A local leader from Tamil Nadu will be assisting our Prime Minister in translating his language. Correct? So, that he is called a translator. So, translator means what he is doing when our Prime Minister says, मेरे प्यारे भाइयों और बहनों, आप सब लोग कैसे हैं? Then he will translate. Okay, our translator, the local leader who knows Tamil, he will translate in the Tamil. Now the people will be able to understand what Prime Minister is talking. So this is called translation. Means our Prime Minister will be talking in Hindi and the translator will translate it into Tamil. Okay, so translator. So same way, this mechanism name is called translation. Translation means they are converting the language. In this process, what is happening? The information that is present on mRNA, which is coming from DNA, is translated now, because the language of mRNA and DNA is different and the language of proteins is different. So there is a change of information taking place in this process. There is a conversion of information is taking place in this process. Okay, so what happens? The information is translated. So language is changing. That is why this process is named as translation. Okay, now so this translation process is very important to understand. So for that, how this is taking place, when scientists have understood that this genetic code is very important. So information is present in the form of codons. So how the codons are present in the mRNA? They are present in the form of triplet nucleotide. Triplet nucleotide means every three nucleotides code for one amino acid. So this is how during the process of translation the information present on mRNA is decoded and given to the amino acids, so that the corresponding protein is produced. Okay, so genetic code means it is a triplet nucleotide based sequence that is present in mRNA molecule. Okay, now if you see the prokaryotes, the polycistronic code for many polypeptides is seen. Polycistronic means one codon will code for many amino acids. In case of eukaryotic, if you see monocistronic, means they code for only one polypeptide at a time. So in case of prokaryotes, one codon code for many amino acids. One codon code for many amino acids or polypeptides. In case of eukaryotic, monocistronic it is. Means only one, they code for one mRNA will code for one polypeptide. One mRNA will code for only one polypeptide. Suppose if insulin has to be produced in the body, one type of mRNA is produced in the cell, and if glucagon has to be produced in the body, there is another mRNA. But in the case of prokaryotes, it is not like that. One mRNA only can be produced two types of proteins or three types of proteins. That is why it is called as polycistronic in case of prokaryotes. In case of eukaryotes, it is monocistronic. Monocistronic means they code for only one polypeptide. One mRNA codes for one polypeptide. That is called monocistronic. Now, genetic code, if you see, this genetic code consists of long series of codons. The information that is present on mRNA is consisting of long series of codons. So 4 bases can generate 4 to the power of 3. 4 to the power of 3 codons. So 64 codons. 64 codons. 4 to the power of 3. So 4 codons are there. 3 combinations. If you see 4 to the 4 into 4 into 4. Total 64 codons. Sorry, 64 codons. 64 codons are present in case of to code the 20 amino acids. Now see, three combinations. So this genetic code here it is mentioned in the form of a triplet. It is mentioned in the form of a triplet. Genetic code is mentioned in the form of a triplet codon that we have seen. Now four codons are there, 4 nucleotides are there in case of RNA. If you see the 4 nucleotides U, C, A, G. Same way I have written this side also U, C, A, G. U, C, A, G. Same way this side also I have written another this thing U, C, A, G in one table. U, C, A, G another table. U, C, A, G another table. U, C, A, G is another table. Okay, now these 3 sides I have written the nucleotides. One nucleotide on this side and top and left hand side. On right hand side what I have written all the 4 nucleotides, so that three combinations can be read. Now see here, this is one U and U. So this U means 3 U's, 3 uracils. 3 uracils, this code for one amino acid called phenylalanine. U codon codes for amino acid phenylalanine. Same way UCU combination gives another codes for another amino acid serine. Now UAU codes for another amino acid tyrosine. Now UGU codes for another amino acid cysteine. Okay, so this is how the information is present in the mRNA is decoded to synthesize proteins. Now see here UUC codes for amino acid phenylalanine. UUA codes for amino acid leucine. UUG codes for amino acid leucine. Similarly, see here CUA codes for amino acid leucine. CUC codes for amino acid leucine. CUA amino acid codes for leucine. CUG codes for leucine amino acid. Now CCU codes for proline. CCC codes for proline. CCA codes for proline. So like this, the 3 triplet possibility codons is represented, and so 4 nucleotides we have and 3 combinations. If you see 4 to the power of 3, it becomes 64. 4 into 4 into 4. So it becomes 64. So total 64 codons are possible, and the 64 codons they code for amino acids, 20 amino acids. So to code 20 amino acids we have 64 codons now. Among these 64 codons, if you see there is same, let's say UCU, UCC, UCA, UCG. All 4 codons are coding for the amino acid serine. Similarly, CUU, CUC, CUA, CUG. All the 4 codons are coding for the amino acid leucine. Similarly, CCU, CCC, CCA, CCG. All the 4 codons are coding for amino acid proline. So it means there are some codons which are different codons coding for the same amino acid. Okay, and if you see some codons are acting as stop codons or terminating codons. Let's say UAA is a stop codon. UAG is also a stop codon. UGA is also a stop codon. So among the 64 codons, 3 codons. See the combination here, UAA. Then another combination, if you see another combination if you see UAG is another codon. Then next column if you see UGA. So UGA, these 3 codons are called as stop codons or terminating codons, because they are not coding for any amino acid. These codons are not coding for any amino acid. So during the protein synthesis, if UAA or UAG or UGA codons are coming, then that indicates that the protein synthesis is over. So it stops the process of translation. So when the protein synthesis is going on and when UAA, UAG and UGA codons have come, then it indicates that the translation process is over. Means it is terminated. Now it is over. So among the 64 codons, we have 3 stop codons, and there is one start codon, initiating codon also, that is this one, AUG codes for the amino acid methionine. AUG is the amino acid codes for methionine. This is the code. AUG is the codes for amino acid methionine. So this is called the start codon. So the starting of the translation process takes place with the codon AUG. Is also called as initiating codon or start codon. This amino acid codes for the amino acid methionine. Okay. So this is how this genetic code table can be read, can be understood. So to understand better about the genetic code, some features have been proposed for the genetic code. So these are the salient features of the genetic code. If you see, each codon is a triplet combination of triplet nucleotide bases. So codon is a triplet. That is the basic and fundamental point or characteristic feature of the genetic code. So each codon is a triplet nucleotide base or triplet nucleoside nitrogen base. Okay, triplet. Codon is a triplet. First and fundamental point. Then the codons are non-overlapping. Non-overlapping means, let's say you see here the combination UAA, UAG, UGA, like this, some sequence is there. So when you are reading, every three nucleotides are one codon. So if you take this UAA as one codon and UAG as another codon, but when you are reading UAA one codon, that's all. Then you cannot take AAU is another codon. It cannot be like that. Or AUA is not like that. So once three nucleotides are read as one codon, that is one codon. So you cannot take the another 2 nucleotides to form another codon. So that is called non-overlapping. So this codon is non-overlapping. Three nucleotides are read as one codon, and reading will be going on like that. Okay, 3 codons. So codon is non-overlapping. Genetic code is non-overlapping, and it is non-punctuated. Non-punctuated means when we have written the sequence of nucleotides like this, UAA, UAG, UGA, like this, if you read, if we don't need to put full stop or comma. And continuously when you are reading the sequence, every 3 nucleotides is one codon, that's all. We don't need to put the comma. So it is non-punctuated. There is no full stop, there is no comma, there is no semicolon. So it is non-punctuated, it is continuous like that. Okay. Now universal. So this codon is universal, means the same kind of genetic code what you have seen the table is common for everybody, for all living organisms. Any living organism you take, this codon is universal. This is applicable. UAA, UAG, UGA. You take prokaryotes, you take plants, you take other animal, means it is a stop codon. These 3 are stop codons. AUG codes for methionine. If I say AUG codes for methionine, means it codes for methionine in every organism. So this is universal, applicable for all living organisms. Then codon, genetic code is unambiguous. Unambiguous means one codon specifies one amino acid. One codon specifies one amino acid. One codon specifies one amino acid. Okay. So one codon will not code for 2 amino acids. But 2 codons can code for 1 amino acid. 3 codons can code for 1 amino acid. But one codon will never code for 2 amino acid. Try to understand the meaning. One codon will code for 1 amino acid. Understood? One codon will code for 1 amino acid. And 2-3 codons also can code for same amino acid. 2 or 3 codons can code for same amino acid. But the same codon will not code for different amino acids. That is what unambiguous. Codon, genetic code is unambiguous. Means one codon codes for 1 amino acid, but there are many codons can code for many amino acids, same amino acid. But same codon will not code for 2-3 amino acids. Never, one codon will never code for 2 different amino acids, but 2-3 different codons can code for same amino acid. Okay. Now codons are degenerate. Codons are degenerate. Degenerate means the 6 different codons specifies serine in the table. So there are 6 codons can code serine amino acids. 6 different codons code for amino acids serine. Similarly, for methionine and tryptophan, we have only single codons. So this property is called as degenerate property of the genetic code. Degenerate. Then codons are wobbling. Wobbling is also observed. Means termination codons we have UAA, UAG and UGA. Here it is wrongly written as E. You can please correct it as UGA. So it is not EGA, UGA. UAA, UAG and UGA are terminating codons. Initiating codon is AUG, methionine in case of mammals, means eukaryotic cells. Now I said wobbling. Wobbling means there are triplets are there, UAA. So UAA. If you see for serine, I said 3 codons are coding for the amino acid serine. Let's say CCA, CCG, CCU, CCC. All these 4 codons are coding for amino acid serine. But how this is possible? How the different codons are able to code the same amino acid? How this is possible? So for this, what the scientists have proposed, wobbling. This Watson and Crick only have proposed this wobbling hypothesis to understand the features of genetic code. Wobbling means, I said CCC, CCA, CCG, CCU are coding for the amino acid serine. Okay, let's say serine. Now the 3 codons are present in 3 nucleotides are present in a single codon, correct? So this out of these 3 nucleotides, if you see out of these 3 nucleotides in a codon, the first and second nucleotides, first and second nucleotides in a codon are strongly bound to the tRNA during the process of translation. Whereas the third codon is flexible. Third nucleotide in a codon is flexible. Means it is bound to the codon in the tRNA is somewhat weak. So this can be changed with the other nucleotide. So this kind of wobbling, let's say CCC. Suppose if CCC, the third nucleotide is always flexible, I said. If it is replaced by A, it can become CCA. It can be replaced by G also, can be replaced by U also. So this is called wobbling, means movement of the third nucleotide is possible. So this makes the third nucleotide flexible, wobble, so that another nucleotide can join the codon and can code for the same amino acid. This wobbling is there in case of genetic code. So these are the characteristic features of the genetic code. Code is a triplet nucleotide and this is non-overlapping. Genetic code is non-overlapping. Genetic code, when you are reading and writing, it should not be there should not be any punctuations when you are writing the genetic code. Genetic code is universal, genetic code is unambiguous, genetic code is degenerate, and there is wobbling with respect to the third nucleotide in case of a codon. Okay. So this is about genetic code. This is about genetic code.